good Monday morning. Sorry about the road noise. It's there because I'm on the road. It's inescapable. But as my people have done for many years, I continue. I'm driving down to Daytona Beach, not for a vacation, but to give 9 different talks to NCYM, which is a really important youth ministry conference that Dudley Chansey and Oklahoma Christian University have put on for years. Travels around the country, so it does. I loved it when I came to Colorado Springs, when I lived in Colorado Springs, because I could just drive down the block and speak. This is going to be an all-day drive, 10, 11 hours, and then I'll give my 9 talks and then drive back on Thursday and Friday. And should be fine, but as I'm on the road, it reminds me of a story and also of a pledge that I've made to myself. Story's an old one. This happened right after I first came back to the States in the late 80s. There was a time a friend of mine wanted to go make some visits, and so I hopped in his car. As we're driving, a fellow in a very expensive sports car pulled out in front of us, and it was done on purpose. I could go into how we know, but it was done on purpose. My friend had to just slam on the brakes, and the fellow in the sports car just lifted his arm out the window and gave us the bird, and he was laughing. He was having a great time. Us not so much. But about 15 minutes later, my friend was still seething at this and just going on and on. And I finally said, "How long have you known that fella?" And he goes, I don't know him. I said, "Oh, I assumed you guys were longtime friends." And my friend looked at me and goes, "Why would you think that?" And I said, "Because you've been carrying him around for the last 15 minutes. And why would you do that if he's not a friend?" Now, obvious application there. Here's the problem. I don't always apply that lesson to myself. There's a rule about traveling. And as I said, my people have been traveling for literally hundreds of years. And so we know these rules. That's before your trip. Put everything you plan to take on your bed. Then take half as much stuff and twice as much money. Believe me or not, this is actually good advice. Practice it. But it's something I need to practice as well. We are entering 2021. We have entered it. And it's going to be a challenge. But one of the things I'd like to challenge all of us to do is to not carry anything we don't need to carry. It could be old hurts, toxic relationships, bad friends that poison our lives, memories, events, the poison politics of the last, all of my life really. So any of that sort of thing that really isn't helping us, let's turn that over to God. Let's just let Him handle it. Even if you want destruction to fall on somebody, remember that God said, "Vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord, I will repay." So just turn it over to Him, and maybe we'll even get to the place where we don't want vengeance on anybody. Wouldn't that be nice? So, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to ask you to go through it too. And that is a little moral, mental inventory. Just lay it all out there and say, which of these can I just drop? Because carrying it is hurting me, hurting my family, hurting people I love. And lighten the load. It's important, though, that we learn how to do this. One of the things that Jesus taught us, He talked about going in and binding a strong man and throwing him out of your house, and He's talking there about a demon in your life. And He said, then you sweep your house all clean, but the demon goes, finds a bunch of his buddies, and comes back. That's terrifying. So what was the lesson? The lesson was getting rid of these things, dropping them, that doesn't fix everything. You got to replace it. So I'm going to replace it with more time with my grands. I'm going to replace it with more times when it's warm enough, hitting the road and rejoicing in the freedom of living in such a wonderful place. But I'm also going to rejoice it with the mission that has been put in front of us. Our Safe Harbor Church has now well over 300 members in just 2 months. It is reaching literally thousands every week, and I don't know that there's been a day that we haven't had more people pop in, and they'll ask, well, what about a podcast? Or can you do some men's classes? Or how do we form community? I've got a lot of work to do here, and so do all of us, you too. So let's throw away the things we shouldn't be carrying and take twice as many things that we should be carrying. Physical travel, that would be leaving behind half your clothes and stuff, and taking twice as much money. In our spiritual journey, starting today, let's work on this. And by the way, it's going to be hard work. I'm going to fail many times, so are you. That doesn't mean stop. It just means get up and keep trying. What are we going to do? We're going to take half as much things as we really need to be thinking about, and then put in the things that God wants us to be thinking about to fill up our pack, so that our backpack is exactly what it should be, and we're not carrying around things we don't need to be carrying. It's just a thought. If you have any questions, you'd like to be a member, you have prayer requests, or you'd like to join our new prayer ministry, just send us a note at info@oursafeharbor.com. And as for me, pray for me. Long drive down, 10 or 11 hours. I'll give 9 talks over 2.5 days, and then drive back. For a 64-year-old guy, that's not as easy as for those young whippersnappers who are 40. So keep me in prayer, keep our church in prayer. But the main thing is, let's do that inventory. What do you need to leave behind as we enter 2020? Let's fill our pack with grace, love, joy, peace, and our mission. God bless. Cheerio.